At the end of this picnic, we're talking to Biz. Biz is one of the founders of Twitter, and he is solely responsible for messing up my whole day. Because, I mean, I don't do my emails anymore. People complain about me. I just Twitter and Twitter and Twitter. My wife's complaining, why the hell am I doing this? But I got a lot of new friends. I got a lot of new ways to receive information, interesting article, interesting speakers, great back channels for all kinds of things. And this guy was responsible. And we just want to find out for the guys how this whole story came about. Was this a preconceived plan, or did you just stumble on success?
A little bit of both. I think it was a little bit of both. My colleague Jack Dorsey had this very simple idea in his head. He was a big fan of social networking sites like LiveJournal and Zanga, which I was a part of back in the US, and he thought it's great to stay in touch with people, it's great to share this information, but isn't there an easier way to do it? And
it's too much work.
He was inspired by the status update in instant message application like AIM or Jabber or Gtalk or whatever.
Amazon.
These things. And so at the same time, I thought, I was trying to think, what are some interesting things we can do to tie SMS to the web so that people can interact in a very simple way to the web? And I said, Jack, this is the perfect idea. We'll let people update what they're doing via SMS to a status, to a server, and then we'll just send that message out to everyone. And so we took 2 weeks to build a prototype to see if the idea really was compelling, and we just loved it because that first weekend that we used it.
But that was only to say my status is I'm at picnic listening to this. I'm here. It's only status between 3 or 4 or 5 times a day. Yep. That was the basic idea.
The basic idea was just what are you doing right now so that your friends who aren't with you, they can know.
Yeah.
And then, it just...
But we did completely different things with it. This is not how I use it. I basically use it, I basically use it to tell people what I'm doing, but we discuss all kinds of things.
Yes.
And was it also meant, you didn't conceive that people would use it saying, this is a great article, go see this, do this.
What we did was we intentionally left it very simple so that there was the possibility that anything could happen. I mean, we even debated whether or not we were going to ask the question, what are you doing? We thought maybe we should just leave it blank, because who are we to say what to do? But in the end, we decided to put that in just to push you in the right direction to answer the question.
Okay, and then so you spent 2 weeks making the prototype.
The prototype, right.
And then a whole year, nothing happened or something, or what?
A few months went by while we decided that it was really all about the simplicity, but we wanted to add multiple devices, multiple transport modes to get that answer in. So we added instant message, and we added the web, obviously, and we added SMS. And then we were working on that for a couple of months, and suddenly a popular blogger in the US linked to what we had on the web and said, look at this application that these guys are working on. So suddenly
which one was that?
That was Om Malik from gigaom.com. And he said, look, these guys have started this. So suddenly we were launched. And we said, and then so we just, we tried to work hard to make sure that the site was up to speed.
And in the meantime, you were doing serious things for making money. This was just like
It was a side.
Was this a venture or a little project on the side?
It was a side project. We were working at another startup, and our hearts were not in the other startup. We were thinking, what else could we do that would be more interesting? And so the side project took off, and what we did was we spun it out and we turned it into its own company.
Okay, the rest of the project is dumped, or is it still...
We sold it. The other project was called Audio.com. It was a podcasting service, and we sold it to another company, which thankfully has changed their name to Audio and is now a publicly traded company. So
they are already, or they were a public...
They were publicly traded. They acquired Audio and changed their name to Audio.
Okay. So then, so you were launched by this publicly popular blogger. But did it launch? But was it popular at that time?
Not quite yet. What happened was...
We're talking about which phase? Where are we? Are we in 2006 or 2005 or...
2006, because we're only still a year old. But what happened was, very early on, some geeks like yourself found it, and they started using it, and they started getting on it.
Erwin Blom from VPRO found it. But he found it at the Web 2.0 conference at, or sort of Southwest.
South by Southwest was where there was just enough geeks on Twitter at that point, and then that was combined with the fact that we won an award at South by Southwest, and there was a lot of press. So all at the same time, the geeks found it very useful because they were all on it, and they were at a festival basically. What are you doing? Where are we going? Where are we going to the next bar? What's the good panel?
It was the backlog channel to discuss what the hell do we think, what should we do?
It became the talk of that festival, plus the press, plus the award. So it was it was our chance to really, get out there. And then from then, it just kept growing.
Okay. So, and then people are using it in a different way. Back channel, a chat box, but a chat box with trusted people which you decide for yourself. So now you have lots of little friends. We have 5,000 friends in the Netherlands, and you have lots of friends in other countries. We have seen Japanese. Is it used everywhere? What are those strange pockets? Like Orkut, was very popular in Brazil.
Yes.
Do you have weird places where people are using it a lot?
Well, what's happened is we also created an API, which means we exposed enough of our infrastructure to third-party developers that they could build on top of it. And so we've seen, like you said, strange pockets of use. Like here in the Netherlands, it's very chatty, like you say. It's very much of a cultural sharing of ideas, which is great.
It is gezellig. It is gezellig here.
Gezellig,
yes. Gezellig, yeah.
And in Japan, it's also very popular, and they've done a very interesting thing. They've created a Tamagotchi game, where you can, when you sign up for the game, you get a Twitter account, you get a little kitty cat, and the little kitty cat says it's hungry, or it just went in the litter box. And you have to Twitter what you say, feed the kitty cat, empty the litter box.
Oh my God. We have something like that in MSN. You have to raise a child together and you have to do that kind of stuff.
It's like that. And these are things that are built on top of the API, which turns out to be one of the most important things we ever did, because we see about 20 times the traffic go through the API as through the website. So now we've become a platform for other...
You have 20 times as much traffic through the API as the www.twitter.com site. Because I use Tiny Twitter, and somebody else uses...
Twitterific or Twitter Vision. And so what happens
I never go through the site.
Now the website is just one application built on top of the API, and it's just as important as any one of these other ones.
Okay, so people are doing strange things with it. How did you pay for all these SMSs? I mean, you started to send SMSs all over the place. It drove me crazy, but you had to pay for them.
Yes.
How did you? But that is a money-sucking operation.
Well, it is. I mean, once you dig into it and you start working with the operators and the carriers, and you negotiate for lower rates for giant amounts of.
How much is that? A cent per SMS or something like that? Is that normal? If you do a million or more,
we're actually not allowed to say. We're under because the agreement we have with them is so good that they don't want everyone else to know. But what happens also is
that's what Hive says too. Yeah,
well, it's true. I mean, and so then also what happens is, the operators, they end up calling you because they say, "What are you doing?" Because we love it, because you are increasing the traffic, and so how can we work together? So. Yes, initially it's very expensive, and if you're a small startup and you need to get past that, that's a very big chasm.
How did you pay for it? Did you already find five?
What happened was early on, we were part of a company called Obvious.com, which was the company that originally acquired Odeo and Twitter before Odeo was sold. So we had a small amount of money that we were able to use to grow just big enough, and the idea was if we were to get too big, we would then take outside funding, and that's what we did. We grew very quickly, very fast, so we took outside funding from a New York City-based venture capital firm called Union Square Ventures.
Isn't it wonderful? They just took venture capital. It's there for the lying. If you're popular, they just say, give me some money and you get it. You don't have to do a lot of effort for it.
It's important. If you create a great product and you're very passionate about it, then what happens is, like you said about PR, we don't have PR agency, but people will call us. Venture capital call us, how can we work together? And I think that's the most important thing. We weren't very interested in Odeo, but we were very passionate about Twitter. And so that comes through in the product, and it comes through in users like yourself. You know that we're passionate, and you're just as passionate. So together we create something great that then can raise money.